Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Balzer, and I'm a Learning Delivery Specialist here at Microsoft. And welcome to our online session on setting up for collaboration and communication for success in 2021. The best part about that entire sentence, 2021. Can't reiterate that enough. Now, our vehicle for this success in this ultimate form of productivity for 2021 is going to be Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a fantastic hub that's going to bring all of our Office 365 connections into one central port. And it's going to allow your staff and your team to become the ultimate productivity powerhouse for 2021. Now, there's a few topics and goals that we want to achieve over the next 45 minutes as we watch this video, and I won't have enough time to go in depth on each topic, and you will notice I will skim over certain parts within that topic, solely because we don't have enough time. But what this will do is give you a great foundation to set up for success in 2021. I really can't stress that number. I love 2021. 2020 be gone. I love 2021. Lastly, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today. Also acknowledge the role of elders past, present and future and the importance of observing customs, cultures and traditions of Aboriginal Australia. Okay, so what are we waiting for? 2021 is here. Let's start a brand new year and let's jump into Microsoft Teams so you can have the most productive year ever. 2021. All right. So here we are in Microsoft Teams, and the first thing that you're really going to want to do, especially if you're starting from scratch in 2021, is hover over to the Join or Create Team button on the top right-hand corner of the screen right here. So I'm going to click Join or Create Team, and I've got two options here. I can either join a team with a code, or I can create my very own team. Now, I'm going to create my very own team, because we're going to do all this live for you and from scratch. Now, there's 4 different teams we can create. And you have to be very careful here because if you pick a particular team, you can't go back and revert it to another team without creating a brand new one, okay? So the layout of your team that you pick is permanent. Now, there's 4 different teams here. The major differences between these types of teams is a OneNote notebook. Okay, so in a class team, for example, the OneNote notebook is set up where students have their own individual sections. In a professional learning community team or a PLC team, the OneNote notebook is set up so everyone has a collaborative space. The staff team, all staff have their own private notebook section and they can't see each other's except for the owners of the team. And then we have an other team where it doesn't even set up a OneNote notebook at all. But if you do it in hindsight, you can actually put the OneNote notebook after the fact into your team. So you're never locked out of a OneNote notebook in its essence whatsoever. So you can always add that after the fact, which is the beauty of Teams. There's a lot that you can't do in Microsoft Teams. But considering we're talking about collaboration and staff communication, I want to set up a staff team for our lovely demonstration. Now, be very careful here as well because you want to make sure you get the naming of your team right. Although you can go and rename a team later on, it does mess up some things on the back end of SharePoint. It gets a little confused. Try and get your naming correct first and foremost. So, we're going to call this Work Smarter, Not Harder, EDU team. All right, love that name, right? Now, we have a description here. Always good to put a little description, help people understand, especially new people that are coming in your team. That's a lovely little top tip for you that don't know what your team's about. So I'm going to say this is a tooltip team which will make you awesome in 2021. Now you have your privacy of your team. Select private if you want full control over who comes in and out of that team. Public will make it searchable across the entire tenant. Most people won't want public because they'll be uploading files that they will consider to be relatively confidential. So you probably want to keep it as private in its first initialization. Now you can create a team from an existing template of that type of team. Now I'm setting up a staff team, so that means that it will provide me with all the different staff teams that I've set up as a template. I can't use a class team or a PLC team as a template for a staff team. And I also can create a team by group that I've been set up within my tenant, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to keep it nice and simple. So here's our Work Smarter, Not Harder EDU team. Away we go. Now it's going to ask me, who would I like to add in my team. And unfortunately, this isn't a Teams 101 session, so there are a number of different resources out there to support you while you're understanding how to add people into your team. There's actually a number of different methods to put people into the team. I'm going to do it the very basic way at this point, and just start typing in a demo account that I have here, lovely student 9068. You can type individual email addresses in to add teachers and students or whoever you're adding into your team manually. However, there's join codes and there's joining links and there's all sorts of ways to get people within that team itself. So let's add student 9068, which is going to be our lovely little demo user into our team. We're going to make sure that they are a member, not an owner, because I want to make sure that me being the owner of the team, I have full creative control over what's going on within this team itself. Okay, welcome to our Work Smarter, Not Harder EDU team. Now, a team is made up on the left-hand side of channels and at the top here of tabs, okay? They are the staples of your team. And I'm going to give you some great hints to set up a really strong visualization and sequencing of channels within your team to get people started. So on the left-hand side here, you'll notice that it sets up a general channel by default. That is always there. You can't remove it. You can't move it. That is just your very first landing port for a channel, okay? Now I'm going to add 5 more channels under the general channel, because how a channel basically works, they're more or less like folders. So you don't want someone, for example, coming in talking about a collaborative project while another person in the same space is trying to discuss the weather, sunshine, rainfall, cats and dogs, whatever that may be, and all the conversation threads getting completely mixed up. So what I'm going to do is hover over the 3 dots on our team called the ellipses. All right, remember that name. I like to call it the hamburger back in the day, but I guess we can call it by its official name, the ellipses. And then under this drop-down menu, you'll see an Add Channel button. So I'm going to click the Add Channel button. And here I can actually add a number of different channels. Now, a great little tooltip here is the channels will go numerically and alphabetically, okay? You can't move the channels around manually at this point, so it's really important how you label these channels to determine its order. So, for example, the first channel I want is a chit-chat channel, a space where people can come and have some general chit-chat. Now, I always recommend people set up a chit-chat channel within their team. Otherwise, people can have really run-of-the-mill conversations in designated channels, and then a lot of the rich content can easily get lost. I am a huge victim of starting tangent conversations in channels. Huge victim. So I'm going to label my channels numerically, okay? So I'm actually going to put numbers in front of them so I can determine which is going to be first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, all right? And then here's a great little tooltip for you. If you press the Windows button and hit the full stop button, you bring up the emoji keyboard on a Windows 10 machine, okay? And I like to add visualization to my channels, you know, especially if someone's coming into my team and they're new. You want something to be really visual, really easy for them to access. So, chit chat. What are we going to put here as our chit chat? Let's just put all these little lovely little people right here. And I'm going to go chit chat. All right, that's going to be our very first one. Now, you can add a description. A description really is a good indicator for someone to go, oh, what's this channel about? So I'm going to write right here, this is a fantastic place for general conversations. All right, there's my little description. So if someone new is coming into my team, they don't know what the channel is about. I can't be any more specific. I've got people there. I've got a visualization. I've got the word chit chat. You can put that extra optional description. Now, privacy. Do you want to make it standard? So can everyone come into this channel? Or do you want to make a private channel? Now, private channel is fantastic if you have executive members and you have documents within that channel that you only want people within that channel to see. Okay, so you can have up to 30 private channels within a team, and you can add only certain members in that team to that private channel. So it's a good little secure spot for secure conversations and for secure files, only applicable to those that have been assigned to that private channel. Okay, we're going to keep this standard because I want everyone to come into chit chat. And this one's quite important as well. Automatically show this channel on everyone's list. If you are setting this up for your school in 2021, people can easily get lost, especially in a new ecosystem, okay? So I'm actually going to click automatically show this channel on everyone's channel list. So I want these channels to appear for them automatically, so it's really visual. So I'm going to click add there, and you'll see on the left-hand side, we have our very first channel, okay? So we have two channels technically, the default general channel that came with the team and our lovely chit chat. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up 4 more channels, and then I'll be back with you in a jiffy. Okay, we're back. Now, I've set up 5 individual channels plus a general channel, so that brings 6 channels in total. And you can see I've made them really visual by hitting that Windows and the full stop icon on my keyboard allows me to bring up the emoji keyboard. So I'll hit that right there so you can see it. And that makes my general channel really visual. So for example, just looking at those channels right there, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into within each channel. Now, each channel is its own space, okay? So all the conversations and all the files that you do within a channel relate and are living in that channel itself, okay? Now, this general channel, let's quickly talk about this lovely general channel. This general channel right here, here's a good little tip. It's completely up to you on whether you want to utilize this. Hitting the 3 ellipses right here, I like to go to the manage channel section. I like to have only owners post messages within that channel space. The reason being is that it allows it to be a space for announcements. Now, it allows it to be a space for the owners of the team to really keep the conversations flowing in terms of, direct topics about the team, okay? It also directs the traffic to the other channels that you've already created, okay? So you don't have to do that. Again, click the 3 ellipses, manage channels, and then under the channel permissions here, the settings, you can basically allow anyone can post messages, anyone can post show alert that posting notify everyone, and only owners can post messages. It's a good little tip because it does force the flow into your custom-made channels and topics, okay? So do remember that. It will clean a lot of the stuff up. The general channel also can have a lot of notifications get dumped there. In terms of people leaving and joining, it can bump a lot of the flow of your conversation out. So I like to make that so only moderators can post within that channel, and then that forces people to use these lovely little subtopics that we've made for our team. Okay, so they're the channels that you can set up on the left-hand side. We've made them with numbers, and we've made them with visualization icons, and then we've called them, I think, relatively nice names that make it self-explanatory. So they're channels. At the top of each channel, you have tabs, okay? And tabs are basically very similar to a browser tab, little subsections within a channel. So you can see here that each channel actually comes with a post tab, comes with a files tab, and in this instance, we have a notes tab. And then we can add our very own tabs to that channel. Okay, so a channel is like a blank canvas. We can make this whatever we want. And if you're a staff member or if you're an educator and you're using this as your landing spot, you really want to tailor this to the needs of the people within that channel itself. So if we ever want to come back to the conversation, we click post, and then all our files will be here within each channel. But what you're mainly going to be interested in is this add a tab icon, this little plus icon. And this allows us to pin an app or a tab, an app at the top of a channel and really customize it to our heart's content, okay? So say, for example, I'm in the Chit Chat channel. I'm going to tab a website at the top of the Chit Chat channel, okay? And I'm going to call this one the Educator Center, all right? And what I'm going to do for this particular channel here, all I have to do is go and grab a URL site. And I would paste that URL in there. Now, I could post to the channel about this tab. I'm going to click Save. And you'll notice at the top of our channel, now we have the Educator Center linked to our channel. And you can add all sorts of tabs to your channels right here to really customize how this channel is. Now, I've just tabbed this lovely education center. So for people in the chit chat, they can start a conversation, they can get training along this website here. Now, I'm going to go through and just tab a few more channels up the top here. So I'm going to add the lovely Drop Bear Museum. One of my favorites. Everyone loves a good Drop Bear Museum. I'm going to put that one at the top there. And you can see now I've got 2 tabs at the top of my channel. I've got the Education Center, so we can basically go and we can do courses and we can learn amazing new things about Microsoft Teams. And we've also got the Drop Bear Museum, where we can, start a conversation about the habitats and the identification of drop bears in Australia. All right, you can add anything that you want to a channel and customize it. Okay, that is one of the beauties of using Microsoft Teams. It is a one-stop central hub for everyone's needs. I was going to say for your needs, but really, it's for everyone's needs. Okay, and later on, you'll see how we can actually add files at the top of our tabbing system. All right, so you can really make this a very unique experience. Now, if I go to my meetings channel and my resources channel, you'll notice the tabs aren't up there. If I wanted to add those tabs, I would go and do that manually. But the idea is that every channel is its own customized canvas. Okay, and as you go through there, you can see that we've got some lovely tabs at the top. Okay, so we've got some beautiful channels happening on the left-hand side. In the chit-chat section, we have some beautiful tabs tabbed at the top of our lovely channel. We're coming to the close of our organization for channels and tabs at the moment without going into too much depth because we honestly haven't got a lot of time. If you do want to customize the settings of each channel, just hover over the channel and you notice you have the ellipses icon. And this allows you to basically, change your channel notification. So if the channel's really pinging and buzzing and you're not really interested, you're not really involved in the activities in that channel, you can turn off the channel notifications. You can customize the channel notifications. You can hide the channel, okay? You can get a link to the channel. You can edit the channel if you're an owner. You can delete the channel if you're an owner. So, for example, this workgroup channel, I might not be heavily involved in it, so I'm going to hide it, okay? Now, the channel is still there. It's just under a subcategory called Hidden Channel. It does clean up my canvas a little bit. And that's a great tip for staff. For example, you might have an admin or a data section that staff don't actively utilize. You might want to encourage them to hide those channels so they can really make this a quick-stop shop tailored for their needs. So that's how channels basically work. Tabs. Look, we could go on forever about tabs. Just know you can pretty much tab anything you want at the top of any channel. So that can be anything from work files to websites. You can rotate them through week by week, and they're individualized per channel. Okay. Let's basically move on to our next conversation. Speaking of conversations, around conversations. That was a good segue, wasn't it? Okay. Now, let's talk about conversations, how you communicate within your channels and within your tabs. Now, as we mentioned before, each channel is its own space. Therefore, the communication, the conversations, and the tabs are all linked to those channels itself. Okay, so I want to start a new conversation. I would click the new conversation button down the bottom there. And the first thing you definitely need to be aware of is tagging people. Okay, tagging people means you're directly speaking to them or it has something directly related to them. So to tag someone, I normally hit the @ symbol and you just start typing their name. So student 9068, for example, is the only person I've added into this team. So I'm going to tag student 9068 and I'm just going to write, hey there, welcome to the channel. All right. Now I've tagged student 9068. They're going to get a direct activity, a direct notification. Some of the biggest problems that people have in Microsoft Teams is that they don't tag the relevant people, and therefore the relevant people don't see. They miss vital forms of information. So make sure you do utilize the tag section. A great example would be you could be teaching within a faculty and you're putting up an assignment and only 3 out of the 10 teachers within that team teach that particular topic. So you would only tag those 3 individual teachers. If it is related to everyone within the particular channel, you can use the @ symbol, okay? And you can literally type in the channel name. So chit chat, I could say, hey everyone, love the conversation about how 2021 won't be 2020. See what I did there? All right, so you can tag the entire channel. You can tag the individual staff members. You can set up your own tags in terms of groups of people to communicate right there. So it's very vital that if you do want people to take notice, if you do want them to be notified via the activity bell at the top there, via the pop-up on the screen, and depending on the settings, whether they're going to get an email saying that someone's speaking directly to them, make sure you use that @ symbol and you tag the relevant people. Very important in conversations. Okay, so let's talk about more advanced methods of communicating within a channel. Now, you'll notice just down the bottom here, we have a format button, all right? It's got an A and a little paintbrush. Now, by clicking that allows me to format my conversations with a few more options. So I could write, love you all right? And I can make that bold. I could highlight that, and then and I can do some reasoning to you by some dot point. So that is the format tab, all right? So you can format individual messages. We can put tables, indenting. We can make sure that it's important that people see it. We can also have a few other ways of communicating down here. So we can do stickers and GIFs. I can type in GIFs, which are filtered throughout your tenancy, all right? So I'm going to add this little GIF right there with my topics and click send. All right. So some very rich ways to communicate. And it's important that you use the formatting tool because it does make your messages stand out. Okay. If you're starting a new conversation, we also have a lovely little section under format called announcements. Okay. So I could make a brand new announcement, all right, in relation to the general channel of chit chat. Should say general channel in relation to chit chat. So I can make a new announcement in relation to chit chat. All right. And I'm actually going to do that right now. So I've already written some things in a Word document. I'm going to paste them right there. Okay. And you'll see that. Let's go chit chat. Let's go welcome to chit chat. Okay, and I've just pasted a message I've already written just down there. Now, I could change the background of our chit-chat section. I'm going to do the bees. That look very pretty. All right. I've got welcome to chit-chat. I've got a subheading, and then I've got some basic points down here on what chit-chat looks like, okay, in terms of the channel. Now, they won't see that unless they stumble within chit chat and just notice it by reading the forums. So again, I'm going to use the @ symbol and I am going to tag the entire chit chat channel. So everyone within the team associated with that particular channel will see this. I'll get a notification about this tag. Now I've got a few other options here. Can everyone reply or can only me and moderators reply? That way, for example, if I'm posting this in multiple channels, which I actually will do. Let's go to the Work Smarter, Not Harder team. And I'm going to put this in the work group and the collaboration channel. Okay, click update. Now I've got cross-channel posting going on there. I could click send. And now I've got this lovely chit-chat announcement that's gone to the collaboration and it's gone to the work group channels there as well. Okay, so very important to understand how the announcements work, how the tagging of staff members work in terms of keeping them in the loop, and also how to make your own announcements, customize on whether people can reply or not. Another good little tip to identify is that by hovering over a message, okay, you have these lovely little emoticons. Sometimes you want to know if people have read your particular announcement, yet you don't want people to write I've seen it, I've read it, I've seen it, I've read it, and have this long conversation thread going on. So I like to encourage my staff just to give me a little emoticon, like a thumbs up if you've seen it. So if I know I've got 20 people in the channel, I should technically have 19 or 20 little thumbs up, okay, without everyone responding. That way, visually, I know instantly that they have read the message. Another few good ways in terms of communicating and using the messaging system, we could save this message. So as an individual, I know as the chat goes through, that's going to bump up and up and up and up and up and up, right? And I want to come back to this at some point in time because it's got a lot of good information in it. We can click save this message, and that's saved, all right? So just hovering over the message, you'll see the 3 dots, the ellipses, okay? That will give me all of my channel or message options. And then by clicking my account icon, you can see here that I have a little saved subcategory. And that will show me all of my lovely little messages that I have saved that can always come back to, okay? So that's a good little tip for you if you're looking to find things that will be, stowed away across multiple teams, all right? Okay, another great little thing that you can do if you want everyone to see a particular form of information is by hovering over the message again, clicking the 3 little ellipses, and you'll notice that we have a little pin icon here now, right? And I can pin this particular message to a team. And it's going to say here, this message will be pinned so everyone who views this channel can see it. And that's what we want. So I'm going to pin that right there. And you're going to say, okay, I can see that it's pinned, but where has it gone? How do people find it? There's a lovely little eye icon, which is show channel info. All right. If I click that eye icon up in the top right, you'll notice that we have our pinned posts there. Okay. So if someone's looking for a particular post that's been pinned, all right, you just need to click on that, and that will filter and take you through all of your pinned posts across your different channels, okay, which is really, really good. Definitely worth checking that out. So if I go to meetings, for example, and click on I, you can see that there's no pinned post because it is in a different channel. All right, I go back to chit chat, I can see all my pinned posts for that particular channel. Okay, so you've got your saves, you've got your formatting, you've got your pinning, but also there's plenty of other ways to communicate. Earlier, we were showing you how we can tab some really interesting sites at the top. Anything that you particularly want. School Excellence Framework, a personal development plan. It's completely up to you on what you want to pin. I particularly like to pin the Drop Bear Museum because I'm very interested. And if you want to have a conversation about that particular resource, on the right-hand side here, you can see that you have a few toolbars, okay? This one is of particular importance. Show conversation. Now, if I click that, that's going to snap the post conversation to the side of our lovely resource. And I can start the conversation right here. Now, you'll notice when I click start conversation, it's automatically made a link about the resource in reference. Okay. So I could tag student 9068 and say, check this out. All right, because they might not know where it is. Hit send, and then if I go back over to posts, you'll notice that we have a lovely little drop-down menu, and it will filter and file all the conversations about that particular resource right then and there. Okay, so everyone knows the resource that we are referencing. Okay, and that you can do that for any tabbed application within Microsoft Teams within a channel. So it is a fantastic way to stay organized. So between saving messages, pinning messages, starting conversations about particular resources and tabs, it's going to be very hard for people to get lost, especially if you're tagging them in a lot of these things. All right, so plenty of things to do with the conversation tab and all the different ways that we can communicate with our lovely, highly organized team right there. And that will lead us on to files and file management. Okay, so let's talk about files and file management. We've got our lovely channels happening on the left-hand side. They're very visual. They're very clear. They're numerically numbered. Okay, we've got our lovely tabs happening at the top of particular channels like our chit chat. We've got our Drop Bear Museum. We've got our Education Center. All right. But now we want to add some files. We actually want to, let's get hands on. Let's start working as a team. So I'm going to go over to the collaboration section. All right. And right here, I'm actually going to add some files. So again, as we mentioned before, each channel has posts, files, and sometimes notes, depending on how you've set up the particular team. Okay, and each conversation and each file that we add to a channel remains in that channel. So for example, the conversations that we have within the chit chat won't be in the collaboration, besides this one, because I did a cross-channel announcement. They won't be in here. So let's talk about files. There's a few ways you can upload files within a team, all right? Particularly, if you want to stay organized, I like to go to the Files tab, and I like to set up my file structure in advance, okay? So to do that, I would click the new icon under Files, and let's add a few folders, all right? I'm going to do a very similar thing to what I did with the channel creation system, without the pictures, obviously. And I'm going to call this, work files, all right? And I'm going to make a few folders as we go through here. Let's go student samples. Okay, so I've made 3 folders within my channel, and they are only relevant to that particular channel. That way we can organize everything to where it needs to go. So under collaboration, files, you can see I've made 3 very beautiful folders right there. So when staff come into my team, they will have everything organized. Everything will be there. They should know where to put their work if you've set it up, relatively clearly. All right, other things I can do, we can add some blank new documents to the team itself. And definitely note within the files section, if it's a public channel, okay, so not a private channel, a standard channel, I should say, everyone has access to those files in that channel. If it's a private channel, only the people within that channel have access to those files, okay? So there are a few ways that we can add files to our lovely new folders right here. We have an upload button. Probably one of the easiest ways to identify how to upload entire folders of files. So I'm going to click on the files icon, and let's upload something in here. So let's upload task 1 space introductions. Click open. I can see on the right hand side here it is uploading space introductions to our lovely folder system here. Now, I wasn't in my work files when I uploaded space introductions, so now it's just sitting in the root directory. Very easy to solve. Hovering over a file, you have those 3 little ellipses, the 3 little dots, and I'm going to go down to move. I don't want to copy it. I don't want 2 copies of it. I want to move it, all right? And by clicking move, it's going to allow me to move it to different folders within that channel, or I can hit this up icon and I can move it to an entire different channel itself. Or if I want to take it to an entire different team, I could do that as well, okay? But for now, we are just going to keep it within our team itself. So I'm just going to go down to move, and we're going to move it into work files. I'm going to move it right there. Right. Now it's nice and clean, it's nice and organized, it's very easy to get to, okay? So we've just moved our file into work files. So I'm going to click on work files, and you're going to see our lovely little task that we've uploaded right there. Now, some people might not know where it is within work files, so there's a few different things we can do to help identify where this file is. I can click the 3 little ellipses, okay? And I have a few options here. I can open the file, all right? So I can open it in the desktop version. I can open it in the browser. I can open it in Teams. There's many different ways you can work on the file, and that's one of the beautiful aspects of Microsoft Teams and Office 365. It's the accessibility, okay? So say, for example, I want to edit this in Teams. I could click open. I could edit that in Teams, all right? So that's going to edit it right in Teams. We don't have people leaving Teams itself. It's going to make it very efficient, very easy to do, okay? I can also do that just by clicking on it. That's the default way that is going to open your file while you're in Microsoft Teams, okay? We can also open it in the browser. And what that's going to do is open up a brand new browser because Microsoft Office 365 has some fantastic browser functionality. So you can access it in the browser, which will speed a few things up if you are having a very slow computer, all right? And we can also open it in the desktop app. So some people prefer to work natively in a desktop app, okay? And basically, we can open that document here and we can continue to work on it in the desktop application, which is fantastic as long as this autosave button is on. Any changes I make to the document in the desktop app, it will reflect it in Microsoft Teams as well. It is one file wherever you go. Okay, so we don't have multiple versions. So I've just highlighted a bunch of text and you can see that changes come across in real time. Okay. So let's help people identify what file we're working on at this particular point in time. I can click the three little ellipses and I can make this a tab. So let's do that. Let's make this a tab. So now we have our space introductions at the top here, just like we had some tabs in Chit Chat. All right, I'm going to go back to files. But I can also pin it to the top of our file. So I'm going to pin this to the top right there. And you can see I've got our task one space introductions. It's just a little quick access thumbnail so people can, access the most, relevant documents, maybe the most recent documents that are going within that particular channel at the particular point in time. All right. We can also copy a link, so we can send a link to the team itself. We can post, we can do an announcement. There's multiple different ways you can get people to find your files within Microsoft Teams itself. So we've done a pretty good job of making this file really identifiable. So I can go back to my tab up here, and because this is a file in a standard channel, anyone can jump on here and edit, right? So when someone is editing a file, what you will see in the top right-hand corner here, you'll see the name of the person coming along to edit this file. All right, so let's go back to our files section. And I manually uploaded that file right there by clicking the upload button. Another way to upload things to your files is to click and drag and drop, all right? Everyone loves the good old click and drag and drop. So I've got 1, 2, 3 right there. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go click, drag, and drop just a folder. So this one's called collaboration. I'm going to drop that into the space. And you can see I'm uploading 5 major items, okay? An entire folder plus all the files within that folder. And that's just by clicking, dragging, and dropping into the file section within the channel. All right, and I can click on that and I can see, for example, there are all my lovely little files all organized and ready to go. Really good way to understand how the file management system works, how you can pin files, how you can tab files, the differences between setting up files in the initial instance and also sharing a link to a file. This is going to help you in so many different ways in terms of organization for your Microsoft staff team or your collaborative team that you're working on within a collaborative environment. Okay, so we had a look at how basically set up the channels, the tabs. We had a look at how you can communicate and tag people to stay in the know. We had a good little rough overview on the file system, how the file system works. But what about if we want a more personalized approach? Microsoft Teams has a fantastic telecommunications network built into the system itself. So let's have a look at meetings. So I'm going to jump over to our lovely little meetings tab right here. And I'm going to start our very first meeting. Now, Microsoft Teams has 3 different types of meetings. We have schedule meetings. We have meet now meetings, okay, which I'm about to start. And you have personal one-on-one meetings or one-on-one calls, okay? I want to start a Meet Now meeting by hitting the Meet button. And what that's going to do is open up the new meeting pane, okay? And I can customize my settings before I go into this particular meeting within the channel. Now, I'm going to make sure my microphone's turned off, okay? And I can turn my camera off and on before I enter the meeting. So you might not be dressed, your hair might not be done, who knows? You can customize those settings right there. You have some background filters, so there might be something confidential in the background that you don't want people to see. So you can select a lovely filter in the background there. So lots of options for you to jump into before the meeting starts. So I'm going to join this meeting. I'm starting a meeting within a channel, all right? And you can see on the left-hand side, we have a lovely little icon here that will indicate there's a Meet Now happening within that particular channel. Now, Meet Nows are meetings that anyone can jump into that are within the team. So it doesn't actually call them unless you dial them in. It's just there. It's kind of like an opt-in, more or less, all right? So if we did want to bring people into our lovely meeting, under the participants pane, we could collect someone and we could click request to join. Okay, and that's going to call them individually, and then we could, bring them into the meeting itself. All right, we have our conversation panel at the top here, so I could, start tagging someone, and all right, hey there, into our meeting space. We have the raise hand. Best practice for meetings is that when people want to speak and someone's going on a really great tangent, try and encourage them right at the start of the meeting to raise their hand. That gives the presenter a section to stop, or I guess a visual indicator to stop talking, and then you can kind of say, hey, Jane, do you have any questions? Or Samantha, do you have any questions? Is there anything you'd like to add? It's just that great visual indicator to say, hey, someone wants to talk about something in this particular instance. We have our lovely breakout rooms. So you can actually have, let's say you have a meeting of 10 people. You need to go away and brainstorm some fantastic ideas. You can start a breakout room. And you can have up to 50 different breakout rooms, and we can automatically distribute people into those breakout rooms, or we can manually move those people into groups. So you could have like a literacy committee, a numeracy committee, and we could organize people into those associated breakout rooms. All right, let's have a look at some of the other quick, cool little features that we have up here. The ellipses icon. The ... icon, hamburger icon, whatever you like to call it. We have some options here. Okay, but the ones that you're particularly going to be interested in is the live captions, for example. Now, I will need to turn on my microphone for this, but this is great for accessibility. And you'll see down the bottom that it's going to start generating some live captions. Now, buyers beware with live captions. They can be hit and miss, but they still are a fantastic way to make sure that everyone can fully comprehend and understand what you are discussing. If you're a fast talker like me, they actually hold up pretty good. I try not to look at them, but they are there, and they will enunciate the speakers in terms of the name. Okay, so if there are different speakers right there, it will indicate who is speaking via the name, which is a fantastic feature. We also have recording. So let's just say someone is away, a staff member is sick, a staff member isn't there that particular day. We can start a recording. So we can record the particular meeting. And then when they come and watch it later, they will have access to that recording. The permissions will only be set for people within that team and that meeting itself, okay, which is a fantastic little feature right there. So we are now officially recording. That is indicated by the red recording icon in the top left-hand corner. All right. We have other features like turn the camera off, turn the camera on. You can mute and unmute. So I'm going to mute myself right there. And this one's a real kicker. It's fantastic. Share content. So I want to share, for example, that PowerPoint presentation with my team. I hit the share window option, and I can share desktop, window, PowerPoint, or a whiteboard. I'm going to share a PowerPoint document. Okay, so let's talk about that one file, that one particular presentation that we tabbed at the top of our Microsoft Teams meeting. All right, so here's our planets presentation, Stage 3 Earth and Space. And you can see here at the top, each individual user can manually and individually navigate through the presentation. So if I'm taking too long on a slide and someone knows exactly where they need to go to, they can do that independently. And of course, you can prevent participants from moving through shared presentations. Okay, so I could click that, and everyone has to look at the presentation slide that I am particularly showing then and there. All right, so I can stop presenting. I'm going to stop presenting on that one right there. And you can see I've still got the meeting chat pinned to the right-hand side there. So you can hit the hide conversation. So there's not a lot that you can't do in Microsoft Teams in terms of collaboration. So I'm going to stop sharing. It's going to bring my meeting icon back up right there. And I'm going to stop recording there as well. So let's turn the recording off. And I am going to leave this particular meeting, or end the meeting, I should say. All right, let's end that meeting. So a meeting's a fantastic place to collaborate on multiple things as you're going through in Microsoft Teams, especially if you're working remotely. It is a fantastic place to not be elbow to elbow, but still get really productive, have those conversations, record the meetings, share your screen. There's not a lot that you can't do within Microsoft Teams. In addition to Meet Now, there are other ways to start your very own scheduled meetings. Now, if it's turned on in your tenancy, which is not for me, so I can't show it to you live, there's also a meeting app on the left-hand side. And by clicking that meeting app, you can actually schedule and customize your very own meetings in advance. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you that to you live, so you're going to have to watch this awesome little GIF. Let's quickly talk about another way that we can collaborate and share. And I know we are running out a little bit of time. There's just so much to go through. So many good things to go through. Now, initially in our team, we actually set this up as a staff notebook, okay? And as setting that up as a staff notebook, it has automatically set up a staff OneNote notebook, okay? And that is at the top of your general channel. Now, I'm going to click on the staff notebook and I'm going to set up a OneNote staff notebook. Now, I could set it up from an existing template or I could set up as a blank notebook. And you can see here, this notebook's going to have a collaboration space, okay? It's going to have a content library, which will be read-only. We'll have a leader-only section, and we'll have private notebooks, all right? So I'm going to click Next right there. And I can customize each page in my particular notebook that the staff members are going to see, all right? So we could add a new section here. Let's call this one Resources. We're going to click Create. This should load up our lovely new OneNote staff notebook. And here's another fantastic place to collaborate and to work together, especially if you're a power user on OneNote, or maybe you're just using OneNote for the very first time. Use it within Microsoft Teams, because we're going to click the Expand tab right here. You've got everything here as your one-stop shop again. So we've got our collaboration space where everyone can collaborate in this lovely little section. So this will change and evolve in real time. We've got our content library. So everything here is the read-only content. So they can read it, but they can't edit it. All right. And then down here, we've got our leader-only sections, and we have our individual teacher section. So there's our student 9068 account. And we can go through as the owner of the team. We can check and have a look at what everyone is working on per teacher level, okay? And those teachers can't see each other's notebook. It's completely private and individualized to them themselves. Now, again, we're still in Microsoft Teams, okay? So if I ever wanted to open this in Microsoft OneNote, I could click in Open in Browser, or I can open in the OneNote desktop app. And what that will do is push OneNote to my computer in terms of the desktop app that's already been installed. Push the file, and you can see here that it is opening the link, and I can natively work in this notebook, and it is the exact same experience that we were working in Microsoft Teams. It is a fantastic way to collaborate and communicate in Microsoft Teams, and I can have all my staff right here. As an owner of the team, I can go through and check on all the different things that they are doing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly have a look at what we've demonstrated today. We demonstrated how to set up a really great channel system to make it visually striking and easy to navigate for your staff. We also had a look at how the tab system works and how the tabs can really customize the channel and make it your very own learning space. We then moved on to have a look at how to communicate in Microsoft Teams. We looked at the rich text format editor. We looked at how to tag individuals and channels within a team, and also how to do some cross-channel posting. We then moved into the file management system, showing you a great way to structure your files, how to upload your files, and how to tab your files for some great collaborative purposes. We had a look at the Microsoft Teams telecommunications network by looking at the video and audio features, screen sharing, recording, closed captions, and much, much more. Then we finished on a high note by having a look at Microsoft OneNote and how you can set that up for your team to make your own individualized collaborative spaces and also private spaces within the Teams itself. So ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you've enjoyed this lovely little look at how to set up a great collaborative and communicative team for 2021, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.